Hi guys, and thank you for joining me again tonight. What I'm going to be doing in this video is speaking on my personal view of how to purchase, cleanse, activate, program, and just use stones, crystals, minerals as tools. Crystals and stones are gorgeous if you're into them for strictly aesthetic reasons to add beauty to your space. That's wonderful. I completely agree. They're gorgeous, you know. You can stick with that. That's fine. But if you're looking to use them as the tools that they are, you can do that as well. And I'm going to talk to you about how I do that. Okay, so first let's talk about buying stones. Obviously, they come from all over the planet. You might have a local store that you're able to get your hands on things, or there might be a gem and minerals exhibit or something along those lines. Touching stones is a great way to connect with them, to see how they feel, to look at their shape, to see what kind of vibe you get from them, if something particularly speaks to you, things like that. However, I don't personally see any problem with buying stones online, and I buy a lot of stones online. A place I typically go is something like Etsy. There's, obviously tons of independent or small business shops. Instagram has shops. There are lots of independent stone and crystal curator type shops that specialize in this. And the most beautiful thing about buying from these people is, first of all, it puts like the world at your fingertips. You can find whatever you want. But these people do this because they love it. They're interested in stones. They have a passion for it. And when you're working with that type of energy already, you're just like off to a good start, in my opinion. So that said, I would check out if you don't know what you're looking for. Etsy is a good place to just kind of do some searching, or Instagram is really wonderful for stuff like that. You'll kind of find shops that you really love and stick with them or branch out. It really doesn't matter. It's kind of just how you end up collecting things. So that's how I feel about purchasing them online. Some people don't really some crystal enthusiasts aren't really comfortable with that, or wouldn't really recommend buying something that you can't touch. But my thoughts are, you're going to get it and you're going to vibe with it anyway. And even if you don't, you can cleanse it, which I will move to now. So, when you get a new stone, let's just grab a tumbled one. When you get a new stone, this is a little orbital jasper or ocean jasper. Super pretty. There we go. Stones are programmable, and they pick up energy from everything that they've encountered in their experience up until they get cleaned. Cleaning, I don't mean like washing them where there's dirt on them. I mean cleaning it like removing any energy that might be kind of clinging to the stone or living in it for now. Let's say you have a store that you're lucky enough to go to, and you're digging through the tumbled stones and you find some that you really like, and that's how it works. All the other people that have been in that store and touched those stones, some of their energy can be kind of stuck on the stone or within it. So that's why we cleanse things. And I'll get into that a little more as well. My favorite way to cleanse is with sound. It's very easy. It sounds beautiful and makes me feel good. And it's gentle on the stones. So something like a singing bowl would be wonderful. A tuning fork would be great. And if you don't have access to anything like that, you can use like a video or a song on YouTube, which is like a singing bowl one or something. So I'm not going to deafen you. Obviously, I would typically hit this pretty hard. I like to do things 9 or 10 times when I'm hitting it. I feel like that really gives it like a significance for me. But if you have a number that you're into, you can do it that or 1. It's fine. Some people place their stones in the bowl. I don't really like to do that. I don't feel a need to, but you could do something like that if you're into it. Another very typical way of cleansing stones is through smudging. So you could take sage or another type of bundle of smudge. I love Palo Santo. You guys see it all the time. So you would light this, let it smoke, and just kind of like run the stone through the smoke and intend for it to be cleansed of any, negative energy or any energy, and just give it a nice fresh start, if you will. Another way to cleanse your stones is with salt, like maybe Himalayan salt. I have a few big Himalayan salts, like tea light holders or candle holders. So once in a while, when I know something doesn't need to be deeply cleansed, I'll just kind of place them on there or around it. You could kind of bury it in salt, in a bowl or something like that. People use rice, but obviously you probably wouldn't want to eat that rice afterwards if you're trying to remove negative energy. A lot of people say running water. I used to do stuff like that. Rainwater, I would collect rainwater and use that. I would collect, rainwater on a full moon if I could. But I'm not really a huge fan of water. I just don't trust it. I don't want to have to look up every stone all the time on whether or not it's okay to use water on it. For the most part, things are pretty safe. But there are stones that are porous or have a salt component that makes them water soluble or something like that. So you want to just be careful if you are using water. A great way though is also just like sun or moon light. A full moon is obviously very romantic. It's a lot tied to that full moonlight, but solar energy is great as well and very powerful. Some stones don't really like to be in the sun too long, like an amethyst would start to get bleached by the sun, but a little bit wouldn't hurt it. And some stones really love the sun, like things that are white especially. But this is a selenite sphere. It's super pretty. Very moon-like itself. They love the sun, so I keep them like on the windows. Clear quartz loves the sun. Things like that. You have to kind of use common sense, or just look it up. Does the stone like to be in the sun? Does the stone like water? Is it okay for me to leave this out overnight? Things like that. So when it's a full moon, or the day before, the day after a full moon, that's a good time to leave your stones out. Or your jewelry. That's another one that sometimes can collect things, and it's nice to clean that as well. So we talked about cleaning, but let's talk about charging. You can charge your stones also with sun and moonlight. You could charge them with, if you were using water and you were using like ocean water, or maybe not ocean, that's very salty, but like a natural water source, that would be very charging for them, I imagine. Also, back to cleansing, another one to, if you really need to cleanse something, like you feel like it's very, very funky, you can bury it. Obviously you might want to like mark it very well, like maybe keep a string hanging out or something, but bury it, and the longer the better, and the earth will kind of take care of things, and also charge it again for you. The way I charge my stones for the most part, because I just have so many, it's kind of hard to keep up with the moon cycle, is I use Reiki. I find it to be a very powerful way to charge stones, and I like to do that. But sun and moon light is a very easy one to use. Sometimes even when I'm driving and I have like a stone on, I'll just kind of like hold it near the window and like let the sun hit it. So that can be pretty simple. Now we'll talk about activating. So you've got your stone, you've cleansed it, you've charged it, and now you're going to use it for something, as a tool. Now, granted, you're going to take into account of maybe what the stone's benefits are that you know of, like that you could look up online, or that you heard was good, or someone recommended it to you, or something along those lines. So let's take a piece of fluorite, okay? This is like a pale, almost clear, and then lavender joy, peace. Okay. For me, I know how I feel about fluorite, and it's very clear thoughts, organized. The clear thought is just unbelievable. I never feel to overwhelm myself. Things just come to me very quickly when I'm using fluorite. So knowing that fluoride is good for that, I would probably charge this. You know, I would use Reiki, or I'm sorry, intend this, and I would also use Reiki myself. But you don't need to. You're okay, like, if you don't have like some Reiki certification. Like, it's the same thing. Like, you just hold it in a meaningful way to you, maybe by your solar plexus, maybe by your crown, however you find comfortable, and just intend the use for it. Something very simple, you know, I would like to, you know, activate all the wonderful benefits of the stone. You know, you could go real general like that. All the benefits of this stone to help me with this in my life. So it could be studying, it could be work, it could be just clear-headedness, something along those lines that you want to specifically use your stone for. Do you have to do that? No, you don't have to do that. You know, you don't have to do any of this. This is just what I do. Okay, so we've covered a good little chunk now. So I'm gonna get into the shapes of stones and what you might use them for, or what I use them for, because as they are tools and as they come in a myriad of shapes and sizes and carvings and polished and tumbled and raw and whatnot, I'm just gonna share with you a few things that maybe, you know, hopefully you'll learn something. Okay, so something to be said first is the shape of the stone will dictate the pattern or shape of how the energy is projected. So, a sphere is round, has no edges, and it is a great one to have. It's feminine. It's a great one to have in your space, in your environment, on your mantle, on your desk, in a little corner table. This is a big sphere. It's black tourmaline, I think hematite, maybe some amazonite, smoky quartz, and a bunch of other stuff. It's really cool. Hopefully you can see how gorgeous this is. So this is a protective type of one, so, you know, I'm going to put that in my home where I feel like I want to make sure that there's protection. Another sphere, which one I just showed you, is the selenite. Now these can get gigantic, these can be, you know, get smaller. Here's a teeny tiny little rose quartz, like a marble sphere. It's really cute. And here is another black tourmaline sphere. So that just gives you an idea that if you want to buy a sphere, that's a nice one for your environment. It's going to sit somewhere pretty and share its energy and kind of circulate things and whatnot. Another one that I use for similar purposes, because it's also a shape that would have a more or less uniform output, is a shape like this. This could be, you could call this a tower, you could call it a standing point. Obviously this has been carved and polished and come out of the ground like this. This is selenite. I have lots of selenite. So this is another one that would be good on your table, up in your window, anywhere to kind of project its energy. These are great for grids. I'm not going to go into grids too much in this video because I have another video planned that's going to be more visual. So I'm going to save like grid stuff for that one. So these can come in smaller sizes, obviously. Here is a ametrine. I know a lot of people are remarking on like the light and stuff, but that's something that I'm gonna work out once I'm kind of settled in my new place. And then you can have big old guys like this. This is a rose quartz tower, standing point generator. So this is just a good one to have like on your mantle. Again, just projects, and rose quartz of course is the sweetest stone, so it's nice to have a big old guy of that. I'm very lucky. Okay, so if those are more uniformly projected energies, something like a cluster, let me do points first. So points. Points are points. I mean, look at them. They're pointy. These have grown on a matrix and have been removed. The matrix is the like bedrock that they come off of, which I'll show you when I show you clusters. So here we have the bluish color. It has a an aura point. So it's been bonded with some type of metal. Here we have a really beautiful dark smoky quartz point. And here is a smaller amethyst point. You can have bigger points like these guys. Some sounds. Okay, so those are points. Now, looking at this, you can get a visual of the energy being kind of directed. It's directional. So that said, when you have a cluster which has multiple points, this is a clear quartz cluster. The energy is being transmitted in all different directions. It's not uniform though, because it's, you know, a natural shape too, or, you know, landing of all the stones. So the matrix, like the matrix is the bottom that the stones grow on. So this sitting on your desk is going like a disco ball or something. So just something to think about. It's not to say that this is at all it's not like haphazard, but it's just different, so you might want to aim it. So when I'm using this one, if I'm using it in a session, I might put a stone in here, like let's say I know that this person that I'm with would benefit from this snowflake obsidian. Something I can do is kind of like put it in here and just kind of like this one, they kind of are all aimed, so I could like aim it at them. Or just in general, just have like it kind of aimed in the direction to kind of keep the energy moving and whatnot. So you have ones, I know they come obviously much bigger than this too, so you have points with, you know, medium, large size, and then you have ones with more of a small, I don't know if I go as far as to call this a druzy, but it's more of a smaller amethyst cluster or part of a geode. A geode means that the stone at one point was enclosed. So let me show you a piece of, this is like a crack your own geode. So this was whole, like it looked like a big rock. When we cracked it open, I got these for my son for Easter one year. They have these like beautiful cave-like sparklies going on in there. So that would be more of a geode. And then these come small and big as well. Okay. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about wands, which I have over here. So you've seen my big selenite wand, which is this one. I use this primarily for on my clients or myself. And what these are great for are moving energy. Particularly the selenite is good for, you know, cleansing your aura. This as well, this is like a smaller selenite wand. Also very beautiful. It doesn't have to be giant. Like, you don't, there's no rule that like things need to be bigger is better type thing. So here are two other wands. They're a little bit different than those because those are very natural and these have been carved. This is a small Labradorite wand and it's round on one end and pointed on another. So this would be good for, like, I typically use this in the third eye, crown and eye area for just like moving energy and moving blockages in that area. This is a blue fluorite wand shape. It's so beautiful. Like, I have the light behind the camera, so like I can see how beautiful it is, but it's not really coming across. There's some purple in there. It just looks very dark to you guys right now, but it's like ocean water blue. It's beautiful. So since this is double terminated, meaning there's a point on each end, this is good for moving energy as well. I like to use this one on the throat chakra. So I'll kind of place it carefully because it's pointy on the throat to kind of move that energy to the upper and lower chakras below and sync it to, what am I trying to say? When we're working with the throat chakra, that's our expression. So we need to express what's going on in all of our chakras, whether that be like, you know, discussing spirituality or, you know, higher self or primal needs, whatever the case may be. Man, I wish I could show you how beautiful this was because it's hard to see, but we'll do that more once I get going on my other setup. Now, pardon. This shape, these are palm stone shapes. This is a nuumite, and this is Kambaba jasper. So they're a little differently shaped, but they're basically palm or pocket stones. These are nice big ones to keep in your pocket that you might not lose as easily as you would a tumbled, which I'll get into that as well. Some stones grow naturally in these kind of like geometric shapes. So here's a little pyrite cube. It's coming. A little pyrite cube. And fluorite does grow in this shape. I'm not gonna remember the shape. It's escaping me. Octahedron, I'm pretty sure. But this has not been grown in this shape. It does grow like this. However, this is not naturally grown like this. Fluorite grows in such a way that when it's being harvested, it can be chopped very cleanly to form this shape. So that's what this is. But it does grow in a shape like this, which is why I wanted to share. Octahedron, I believe. And I don't have a terribly large amount of carved shapes, but I do love Merkabas or Merkabas. Here's a little clear quartz one. I'm not really gonna get into the shapes of like cabochons and stuff, like jewelry. Just pieces you might buy. But you can get, you know, ones carved like spirit animals or moons and planets and shapes and whatnot. And here is a larger Merkaba, which is a black obsidian. Okay, and here's like just a really beautiful cluster I wanted to share. This is an apophyllite cluster. I'll try to put some links to my favorite shops in this video. You know, below the video, so if anyone's interested in where I usually get my stuff. Okay, and now we'll talk about, oh, this is a really gorgeous, another point. This is a celestial smoky quartz. I don't know if I call it a twin because there's two, but pretty much a twin. It's just really beautiful. I love this point, or this group, these buddies. Celestials are probably one of my very favorite stones, so. And I'm going to do more videos on stuff like that to give you a little more information. Okay, so now probably, the easiest way to find stones is tumbled stones. So I have these in a bag because I recently brought them somewhere, but I have a small amount of some tumbled stones that I'm either planning to make into necklaces or whatever. So when things say tumbled, they can be polished, which means that they haven't been put in a tumbler. For example, I'm fairly certain this was not tumbled, polished. You can tell by the shape of them, like when they're more round, they've been tumbled. So here's the malachite. Polished. I'm kind of grouping, you know, like smaller, polished, and tumbled stones together. There's a small green fluorite. Sometimes I just go to my local stores and pick stones out because I get this intuition that I'm going to be mailing them to someone or someone will need it. Here's a lapis lazuli. It's a gorgeous blue, very significant to the Egyptians. Here's a nice tiger's eye piece. Obviously I have tons of tumbled stones, so I'm not going to show all of them. I'm just going to show you some. Hopefully they are pretty to look at as you're relaxing. So it's tiger's eye. This, oh, I forget the name of it. I want to say it's African turquoise. Gorgeous, like truly, truly gorgeous. Here is a blue tiger's eye. I'm fairly certain blue tiger's eye is chemically treated. Oh, which is another thing I wanted to go into. So when you're looking at stones, you'll probably come across some that are just too beautiful. So something like this, which is an aura point. Oh, this thing. Okay, this is both of these have been treated in this alchemical process of bonding metal to the stones. Particularly this is titanium, I have a feeling this is like gold and maybe platinum, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, I have to do this again. So, right, let's just spin it around. Look at these colors. It makes me like crazy to look at. Okay, do you see that? Sorry, I feel like super nerdy about it. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like it's like super purple. It's kind of hard to tell right there. You can see it there. Oh, so gorgeous. So these have been treated by, you know, they've been treated, but all that does is bond the qualities of metals, because metals are very significant as well. They're conductive, like gold, nothing sticks to gold. Everything will just, like the negativity will run away from gold. Silver has its own properties, copper, titanium. So it's just so pretty. It's just too pretty. So that's something to look for when you're shopping for stones as well. So I guess I'm going to show every single. Here we have garnet. It's very dark piece. But you can see the shapes that these come in. I'm very picky about my shapes, so you might see a theme, but obviously they come in everything. This is Socialite. It's the first time I've ever bought this. It looks very similar to selenite, but it's definitely not selenite. Socialite. So I was excited to buy that. Here's one that I actually am wearing in my necklace. This is Chrysocolla. Anyway, so you get the idea. There's all different just ways to buy stones. One thing I didn't really touch on is raw pieces. So here's a small raw rose quartz piece. Very pale pink. Here is a small, a smoky quartz raw piece. I mean, a lot of crystal enthusiasts do prefer, and myself included, energy-wise, I love what I get from raw stones. But that said, I like variety, so I am appreciative of all the shapes and sizes and whatnot that things come in. Okay, we're almost finished. I just wanted to cover one more thing. I hope I can find it. I lost it. Here we go. This one. I'm going to talk about pendulums. We talked about finger dowsing and just dowsing in general in my last video, or one of the most recent ones. But pendulums, this is a clear quartz pendulum, are a great way for you to choose your stones. If you're someone where it's hard for you to make decisions like, oh, is it this one, or anything like that, having a pendulum is a great way to, know which stones are right for you, which stones are right for you for that day. For example, I wear stones constantly. I mean, I feel weird if I don't have them on. So, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable picking out what I'm going to wear each day. But let's say I was just like, I know I want to wear something, but nothing's jumping out at me. I might try to use my pendulum to find what I might need that day. For example, let's go by color. Let's go by the chakra system. Purple, no, violet, white, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red, right? The stones, according to color, will work with that chakra. That's like a good rule of thumb, easy way to kind of pick out like which stone you might want to work on. So it's saying you want to just feel patience and unconditional love. Like go with those pink and green stones. If you know you like want some confidence and you're kind of feeling a little unmotivated, go with some yellows and citrines for that, and so on. When you want to be grounded, darker stones and deep reds. If you're trying to connect with spirit and meditate, maybe clear white or purple or violet stones. When you're having a day where you want to heavily depend on your intuition, go with the indigos, and like so on. So you can kind of go by that. But sometimes we don't know what the day is going to bring us, right? So something like that might be helpful to use your pendulum for. Now, pendulum, you can make your own. You could put a ring on a necklace. You could tie anything that would weight down a string or a chain or anything like that. So what you would do is you should really hold it kind of close to your solar plexus, but I'm not going to do that right now because I'll be out of the shot. So this is just a clear quartz, very simple clear quartz pendulum. And here I have one that I made, which is a little double terminated selenite on a really long chain because I forgot. I didn't cut it and I didn't have time when I was making it. But so, just something that will hang and swing. Now, your pendulum is going to talk to you differently than mine might. So for me, I know my pendulum pretty well. A yes for me is a big circle going clockwise. Or it doesn't have to be big, but a clockwise circle. A no for me is a reverse circle. I'm sorry, a counterclockwise. And sometimes when you're not asking the right question, or how am I going to put this? Sometimes you have too much attachment to the outcome or attachment to what the answer is going to be. So your pendulum just might decide to stop working with you at that point, where it might just go kind of steady and not really tell you anything. So let's say you hold it kind of near your, and we're going to ask a question. Was chrysocolla a good choice for me to wear today? I don't know if you can see. Oh, you can't. But my circle is starting, and as I pay more attention to it, it's gonna get bigger. Should I wear or carry a protective stone with me today? Will I benefit from that? So it's kind of telling me no. It starts out kind of slow, and then it gets, more noticeable. I've been doing this for a while, so I don't really use my pendulum for things like that. But let's say you're meditating. Like, say you have a little collection going, and you're meditating, and you're kind of picking out what you're going to use. Sometimes it's nice to ask, is this, you could even, let's say, have a few on the table. Just, do it like this. So I have my solstice and the orbital jasper. And I could say something like, please show me which of these stones would be more beneficial for me today. It's kind of just going back and forth. I don't think that's like the right way to ask the question. Let's see. Is sosalite a good stone for me to work with this evening while I'm doing my meditations? And it's saying no. Something like that. Trying to see. Here's a lapis. Will this lapis help me open my third eye? And it's saying yeah. So things like that. So like if you were in doubt of anything, and you're taking it very seriously, and you didn't really have your confidence as far as like knowing your stones yet, pendulum is a great way to build up that confidence and communicate with your stones in a way that you'll feel good about. As far as taking care of them, we talked about charging and programming and cleansing and things like that. Now, as far as keeping them, like where you keep them, I mostly keep my stones out. Like, I will keep them out on my dresser, on my table, obviously in my Reiki space. I have some bowls that I like to keep them in. But they like to be out. They like to be useful. They like to be there. So don't put them in a box and put them in your drawer, you know. I mean, if you have to, that's one thing. But if you're using them and they're a part of your life at this point, they like to be out. So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna continue a series like this moving forward. Like I said, I'm planning to do one that's more elaborate, to make like a nice big grid, and it should take some time too, so it should be pretty relaxing and more beautiful, like a better visual aspect. But this was just a little information, and I hope that you found it useful. So yeah, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Namaste.